Welcome to Sakshi TV's special immigration show with attorney Bhanu Babu Illindra from BBI Law Group. Please note that Sakshi TV now has 3 immigration shows every week. On Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. EST with attorney Ms. Prashanti Reddy in English, on Thursday at 5:30 p.m. EST with attorney Chand Parvatnini, and on Friday at 6 p.m. EST with attorney Bhanu Illindra. Please tune in to ask your questions. If you're an immigration attorney and would like to join our special shows, please email us at usa@sakshi.com or call 866-725-7441. Before we begin the show, please note that the information provided on this show is not a legal advice and is for general informational purposes only. Sakshi TV or its agents will not be responsible for use of information. If you need specific legal advice, please contact the attorney directly. Mr. Bhanu needs no introduction, but if you need consultation, please log on to ilindralawgroup.com for contact information. And when you connect with them, don't forget to mention Sakshi TV. From the beginning, ilindralawgroup.com has put a wealth of free information and online tools in the hands of immigrant community and for the benefit of you as employers. The ilindralawgroup.com site provides you with latest and cutting-edge information on U.S. immigration law and policies explained in terms you don't have to be a lawyer to understand. Today's topic is the H1B cap and 221G and FDNS site visit. We will continue the knowledge session along with the news and updates or latest immigration followed by Q&A. Before we get into the topic, you can call us on the numbers displayed on the screen for questions related to immigration and also ask for tips. Hello, Bhanu Garu. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. What about you?
Very well, thank you. So, Bhanu Garu, before we get into the topic, looks like we have a lot to discuss this week. Would you want to provide our audience any latest updates? I mean,
Sure.
the H1B registration process has started too, so...
Yes. First, we will talk about that, and then I'm going to talk about our other topics, which are FDNS site visits and 221Gs, and then we'll go from there. Mainly, I just want to let you all know that H1B cap registration for fiscal year 2024 is already started on March 1, 2023 noon. Okay, so. And it's going to close on March 17th noon. It's very important. It's very important to know that the cap registration closes on March 17, 2023 noon. So any registrations you have to submit prior to March 17, 2023 noon. Okay? And you all have to understand this. For the H1B cap registration, we need a minimal information. Just like previous years, nothing has been changed for the cap registration. The minimal information, we all know what is needed is that employer information and the employee information for whom you would like to file H1B petition. And once this registration successfully submitted to the USCIS, and then they're going to conduct the lottery sometime in the time frame which we have seen when they conduct the lottery is around March 22nd to March 27th every year. And if that happens, then we will know how many cases have been selected, how many cases have been actually registered in the lottery, and how many cases have been selected in the lottery. We'll have some idea at that time. You have to understand this. The most important thing is the last year we have seen is that if the employers are submitting multiple registrations or duplicate registrations for their employees for the purpose of not losing in the lottery, the most important thing you have to understand is the employees have a right to take or seek employment with any employer. That means if the employee has multiple offers from multiple employers, those employers can register in a lottery on behalf of that employee. But an employer cannot collide or commingle with some other employers and ensure or require to register for the same employee. That is the difference. There is no restriction for employees. We hear a lot of stories that US is coming back to the employees also, why you have been registered with this employer, that employer. Do not worry about that. Those things USCIS has no authority. As an employee, you have a right to work for any employer you would like to work for. So it's your choice. If you have multiple offers from multiple employers, those employers can submit registrations on your behalf. And that's what is very, very important. As long as they're bona fide job offers which you have, or bona fide job prospects you have, there's nothing wrong those employers submitting those registrations on your behalf. And second thing is, I strongly believe that the attestation which they have for the employer and everything is a scare tactic by the USCIS. I don't think they have any authority to pursue any legal claim against anybody based upon this attestation you are providing while submitting the registration. Okay.
Right.
So it's very, very important. You guys have to understand your rights. Sometimes USCIS try to cross their lines. We have to let them know that, no, in accordance with the law, you are complying. So you do not done anything wrong. So it's very, very important to understand that. And other thing is, we are anticipating heavy registrations this year, just like last year. I'm anticipating at least 500 to 600 registrations this year for the F1 cap. Last year we had around 480,000 registrations, and this year it will be at least 500 to 550,000 registrations. That is what we're anticipating because of the demand for the H1B program, and the prospective employees are available for the prospective workforce is available for the employers to hire in the specialty occupations. So that is what I just want to let you all know, that please be advised. Timing is very, very important. Already CAP registrations commenced on March 1st, 2023 noon, and it's going to end on March 17th noon. Okay? You all have to understand that March 17th noon Eastern time. It's not Central time, it's not Mountain time, it's not Pacific time, it's Eastern time. So 17th noon Eastern time, the CAP registration will end. Therefore, any registrations you would like to submit on behalf of your employees, ensure that those are all submitted prior to that. So at least way before that. So don't wait till the last minute to complete your registration process, because something can go wrong with these electronic systems. And what any glitch happens or anything happens, you may lose an opportunity to submit the registrations on behalf of your employees or prospective employees. So it's very, very important you all to understand when to submit these registrations. Okay, and this year you only have to pay $10 fee to the USCIS, not anything more than that. That is one thing also you all have to understand and keep that in mind. And the second thing is, and I'm sorry, one more important I want to discuss in this session is that FDNS site visits and the 221Gs issued at the consulate. Okay.
Right.
And
So, Bhanu Garu, regarding 220G, we do have some questions that our audience had also asked. Some also started with the basic of what 221G is in the context of US visa stamping. Would you want to start up with those questions?
Sure, definitely.
So could you
I'm very
please,
happy to.
right? Could you please explain to us, to our audience, what 221G in context of US visa stamping is?
221G is nothing but it's a section. It's a legal section in the Immigration and National Act. It's in the statute. The US consulates can deny issuance of visa to anybody under INA section 221G. That's why it's called 221G. If they deny, if they refuse to issue visa for you when you apply for a visa, the authority they have is under INA section 221G. That's why it's called 221G. So they issue the document under the section INA section 221G and state the reasons why they're unable to process your visa application or why they're not able to issue a visa for you under those sections. Okay. Under 221G, when they want to request any additional information also, or if they refuse any other information for administrative processing or anything like that, then the authority they have is they get the authority from the INA section 221G. That's where they do that. But the reason of denial of a visa could be several other reasons. For example, if they deny your visa pursuant to INA section 212, most of them that's for willful fraud on the subdivision. If it's an INA section 214, it is meant for it may be for certain visas that you cannot be an intending immigrant And if they feel like you are going to be intending immigrant, they can deny under INS Section 214B. But all these things, the authority gives them to make this kind of decision is Section 221G of INA.
Right.
That's
And of all these reasons, Mr. Bhanu, what are the most common reasons for a 221G not being issued?
Not being issued or being issued? I mean, 221G.
Not being issued. What are the most common reasons for a refusal of 221G? Most common.
You mean a refusal of a visa or 221G?
Yeah, the visa of 221G. Okay. Not visa, 221G.
Refusal of a visa.
Yes.
It depends upon what kind of a visa it is, right? For example, just a second, I'm sorry, my phone is ringing. Sorry for that. For the disturbance. Just a second.
Right.
I'm sorry for that. I'm really sorry for that.
That's not a problem.
I should have muted my phone before the call. I'm really sorry for that.
No, that's all right. Please go on, Mr. Bhanu.
Yeah. See, it depends upon what type of visa it is, right? For example, if it is H1B visa, okay, and they can actually issue a request for further evidence pursuant to INA Section 221G and refuse a visa if they feel like they need to do additional administrative processing to determine whether the individual is eligible for that H1B visa or not. Same thing with L1 visa also, because they both are work visas. Those are the most predominant work visas that are utilized by the Indian nationals to come to US on to work, L1 and H1B. Okay, so either if they have to go through verify any information, like for example, they want to make sure that there is something else is needed for them to determine whether the individual is eligible for a visa or not, then they will issue 221G document saying that they're unable to issue a visa at that time. And for H1Bs, most of the times for H1Bs, they want to verify whether there is a valid employer-employee relationship exists between between the employer and the employee. And all that, what it means to say is that employer actually have a need in a pro-offer specialty occupation in which they intend to hire the H1B worker, and for purpose, the H1B worker is seeking a visa at the consulate. And if the officers at the consulates feel they're unable to determine that they have that whether employer does have a bona fide offer or a valid employer relationship, and they want to do further inquiry, then they will issue 221Gs. I'm just giving an example for H1B program. This can happen even for F1s. This can happen for B1, B2s. This can happen for L1s. This can happen for O1s. This can happen even for J1s, any type of visas. But mainly, I'm talking about H1B because it's more prevalent about this. Even for H4s, it can happen. It can happen for L2s also, or any of the dependents also who are planning to go to US from India. So that's where that is what it happens if they see any deficiency in the petition also, or the deficiency in any application also, they may issue a 221G requesting further documents to make a determination whether the visa can be issued for that individual or not. That's why 221Gs are basically the request for further evidence documents. Notices will be given to the individuals under Section 221G most of the times. Runda, yeah. I mean, do you have any other questions on this?
Right, we do. So, how long does processing take 221G to resolve and come to a decision?
It depends upon case to case. Some cases it may take few days or few weeks. I mean, it's all depends upon. Some cases can take even months also. For example, if the Department of State officer refers the case to the USCIS, for example, in H1B cases I'm talking about, if the officer thinks that this H1B should not have been approved in the beginning by the USCIS, maybe there could be some erroneous reasons why USCIS approved this petition, then the officer can refer that case back to the USCIS. When they refer the case back to the USCIS, then USCIS again has to review that file, and again they have to make sure whether reaffirm the decision what they made, or they can actually issue notice of intent to revoke to the employer and request the employer why that petition should not be revoked. Okay.
Right.
And so if that happens, then obviously it's going to take plenty of time. It's going to take a lot of time because all this process they have to go through, So it all depends upon. Sometimes it could be for simple reason, right? For example, some document is missing and they feel like they can get a visa if the document is provided. So they can just issue 221G for that reason. And once the document is provided, then they will issue the visa. Or sometimes this application or a petition that has been submitted to the USCIS, the filing copy might have not been updated in the PIM system, which is Personal Information Management System, from where the consulates actually retrieve or receive all the files of the individual to make a determination whether the individual what is telling is true or not, eligible for the visa or not, what they've submitted to the USCIS or not. I'm talking this all in the H1B petition scenarios and H1B visa scenario only, not on other visa types here. So all these factors can come in. Various factors can come in. Why visa can be issued, why it takes time sometimes, why it doesn't take time sometimes. Sometimes background check may be pending about the individual. Maybe some police records be there, which was not disclosed. Maybe some name conflict can be there in the system with some criminal record or anything like that. Or maybe there could be some other conflict saying that your visa has been refused in the past or something like that. And all that information to clarify, they can issue 221Gs for the administrative processing. And sometimes those things can take time to sort out the information.
And when can you follow up on 220G with consulate or the US Department of State, Mr.
You should there is no particular timeline. You should constantly follow up with them. You should keep on constantly following up with them every week, possible, every 10 days.
Right. And how can one follow up with the 221G processing? What are their options to check for the case?
They should be able to communicate through an email to the consulate officer. And they should be able to send an email to the consulate officer with case number and everything and all the details. And that's how they respond to that.
And can somebody expedite 221G processing, Mr. Bhanu? Is there any premium processing also for,
Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, no such thing.
So they can't expedite?
No, because as I said, getting a visa is a privilege. It's not a right for you. So it's always discretionary of the officers who are adjudicating that application or their application to issue a visa. Because of that, sometimes it can take time, sometimes it cannot take time. We can put pressure from various ways, but they can take their own time on it.
Right. And does, this is one question that we've gotten actually pretty much in different formats, but we've brought it out to one. So does delay in 221G processing mean that it's being rejected? Does it mean that it's rejection? This is something a lot of our audience have asked.
Not necessarily, but most of the times what we have seen is people don't have the time to wait that long, or they will lose if it comes to the H1B employment situations or L1 employment situations, sometimes they lose their employment because employers cannot wait that long for them to get a visa or anything like that. So those are the things can happen, but it's not necessarily mean that delay means that it's likely going to get rejected. But yes, it's a possibility. It's a very good possibility that the application may be rejected if there's a lengthy delay in 221G.
Right. And with that, we're ending towards the last question of our this session, Mr. Bhanu. So are there any other alternatives to any 221G situation for for a person's US visa?
The alternatives is that we have to fight. We can file a lawsuit against the Department of State, and that's the way we should deal with it. And we need to force courts to order the Department of State to adjudicate these applications expeditiously possible. For example, the court can order Department of State saying that you approve it or deny it. Let the applicant know what's happening with his application so that they can plan their future. They cannot be hung on a balance, right? And that's where the whole issue is. So you can file a lawsuit against the Department of State and ask the courts to order the consulates to adjudicate these applications as early as possible. That one avenue which you have. And I think that is the probably the better avenue if nothing works out for you. Like you're sending an emails to them, you're trying to communicate with the congressmen or the senators or through the ombudsman, whichever way it's possible. If that's all those things, all those avenues does not work for you, then you have to approach courts and file a writ of mandamus against the consulates.
Right. So with that, Mr. Bhanu, we come to the end of our show for this
Sure.
week. And like always,
We couldn't, because of the lack of the time, we couldn't discuss the FDNS. We will discuss the next week.
Yeah, we sure will discuss the FDNS site visits in our next episode, Bhanu Garu. And thank you, like always, for giving us, for equipping us with one of the best tools, and that is the information, for giving us the right information, for always keeping our audience equipped with the right kind of information. It's a privilege to host you, Bhanu Garu. Thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you. Same here. As I said, always, I mean, I'm very thankful to Sakshi TV. Thank you to the entire crew in Sakshi TV. And awesome. It's awesome to be on the show all the time. Thank you.
So very glad, sir. Thank you. I hope you have a happy weekend.
You too. Yeah. Bye.
You're watching Sakshi Live. This is Torni. Thank you.